Welcome to the Post-Purchase Pro Podcast.
This is the only podcast that dives deep into post-purchase marketing to help Amazon sellers increase sales, ranking, reviews, and profits. It's everything that happens after the initial sale that makes a difference. We call this the back end. And I figure if I start talking before the intro, then I'll jump right in front of Seth and be able to take this. So welcome to another episode of the Post-Purchase Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sean Hart. That handsome gentleman there, and I normally don't say this to his face. Yeah, exactly, over your shoulder. That's my partner in crime, Mr. Seth Stevens himself. Seth, I'm in my condo in Florida on the water. There's a huge lightning storm going on behind me, so if I get cut off, then you may have to finish without me. But what's new, right?
What is new? So guys, super excited today because we have another amazing guest. That's one of the benefits of having a podcast is we always get to bring on amazing entrepreneurs and dig in and find out not only their story, but some of the things that have helped them be successful. And it all helps us, right? So today I want to welcome a very special guest, Mr. Ben Leonard, serial entrepreneur, done a ton of different things, sold a business recently that he scaled internationally, and all kinds of other things that I'm going to let him tell you about. Ben, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Ben. And I know you just said briefly in the green room that you were working on doing this again, building another international seven-figure business. So do tell, what are you working on? Who the heck is Ben from House Leonard, and why are you here?
Sure. Well, it's great to be here again, guys. Thanks for having me back on the show. For people who don't know me, I am Ben from Northeast Scotland. I started a fitness brand in 2016. I grew it. We were doing $6 million in annual sales in 2019 when I sold it. It was the first European brand to be sold to one of the aggregators emerging at the time. Now I'm building new brands, hopefully to do the same, but potentially even better. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for 8 figures next time. Developing a baby brand now. Already co-own a fitness brand and have slices of equity in other brands that I advise. I co-own an e-commerce brokerage. We help other people exit their businesses. But my main focus right now is the consulting, the speaking, kind of just sharing my knowledge with the e-commerce community. And that's kind of what brings me here today.
Great, Ben. Well, thank you for that quick intro. Take me back. Remind me, where did we meet? Was it South Africa, it seems like?
That's right. We met in Cape Town, South Africa in I think it was February earlier this year at Kaylee's event. And that was great fun.
That's right. I brought my wife with me because we were celebrating Valentine's Day. And then I end up sick with food poisoning and had to get an IV in my hotel room and missed a lot of the festivities. But at least I made your acquaintance. So I appreciate that. Why did you write this book that we're going to try to dig into today, the Quit Stalling book? I know you shared a chapter with me, which I thoroughly enjoyed, especially with like I said, the personal stories. But why write this book? What was the main motivation behind that, Ben?
Sure. Yeah. So the book, Quit Stalling and Build Your Brand. I wrote this because it's the book that I wish had existed when I was starting, and even after I was starting, even after I was stuck, right? So the book it's a set of timeless business principles, but applied to e-commerce specifically. So there's a lot of great books on e-commerce out there, and I love them, but sometimes they're quite technical, and therefore they can go out of date pretty quickly. I wanted to write something similar to some of the business books, the classics that had helped me, but really putting a particular e-commerce spin on it and kind of feeding my experience into it, guiding people who need someone who's been there and done it and is still doing it to help them when they're stuck. So it's like a roadmap for somebody who might have an idea but hasn't given themselves permission to get off their ass and do anything about it. I'm just trying to say, come on, quit stalling. And it's for people who maybe, they are making an effort. They have started, but they're a bit stuck. They've reached a plateau. They need some help to get to the next level. And equally, I'm going to help them quit stalling and build their brand.
I love it. So Ben, in keeping to the theme of mafia offer, which I spoke about a little bit in Cape Town, why should people listen to this episode going forward? What's that secret golden nugget that you're going to share that's going to be life-changing for the better? We often talk about life-changing, but doesn't necessarily mean better, right? Why should I stay and listen or watch this?
Because there's so much advice going around, in the e-commerce space. It's so easy for anyone to just get on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok and start dishing out advice, but they haven't actually been there and done it. or maybe they have been there and done it, but they had pretty limited success. So now they've turned to, I'll start monetizing YouTube or whatever, right? Whereas actually, I open everything up in my book. I talk openly about my brands, which is something that not a lot of people do in the space. And I talk openly about not just the success that I've had, but also the mistakes that I've had, so that you don't make those mistakes too. Everything from, product development and intellectual property all the way through to, email marketing, using social media, even podcasts to promote your brand. The whole roadmap from idea all the way to marketing on the back end. There's nuggets all the way through. And what's fantastic about it is it will still be valuable in 5 or 10 years, because though I give specific examples about the channels and the technology that I'm using, the principles will still be there because they're timeless classic marketing principles.
So Ben, let's talk about some of the stuff that we were discussing before the show, which is really like the psychology of going through entrepreneurship. Like you said, your book is called Quit Stalling because that's just a mental barrier, but there's so many other things that people struggle with. And really the mental battle is the first battle that you have to win to be able to win at the game of business. So what is it in the mind of an entrepreneur? What are we all facing? What are the biggest struggles that you're seeing? And then what can we do about it?
Sure. Yeah. You were breaking up a bit there, but I think I caught most of that stuff. I think a lot of issues that we have as either entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs, we haven't actually taken action yet, right, is the mindset that we're in. And that's not our fault. It's like society's fault, because we're taught that, while you're at school, you work hard and you choose what subjects you're interested in. And then that's going to guide what you choose to do if you go to college or university. And regardless of whether you go to college or university, you're going to end up working in a kind of, a job that potentially, hopefully, that you're interested in. That's kind of what you do. And entrepreneurs are these other people, right? We never kind of think about it when we're at school. People, they don't teach entrepreneurship. They don't teach business skills at school. Entrepreneurs are just other people. And we never, even if we have an idea, so often we take no action because we don't think that we're qualified to do so, either because we don't have a business degree or we've just never considered ourselves in that way. So like my first fitness brand called Beast Gear, I had the idea for it in 2012. I didn't take any action until 2016. And even then, I only took action because I was taken to hospital in an ambulance with a heart condition. I had to stop work for months. I was only 27, right? I had to stop work for months, take all these strong drugs, and I had nothing to do. And so I started this brand kind of like as a hobby, just as something to do.
So wait a second, you're actually my age then.
Bored in my apartment.
You're actually my age then. I thought you were closer to Seth's age, so you're like late 40s.
That's it. I'm secretly a lot older. Yeah, I'm fine now, right? But this
I'm doing the math. You're 27 back in 2012. So I'm doing.
I'm 35 now, right?
Oh, I thought you said you were 27 in 2012. When I 12. Okay.
No. Yeah, no. I'm
wait a second.
Now.
Take me back here,
when I took action in 2016.
So you're the most handsome guy in e-commerce, but it didn't start that way, right? You were like me in school. I think it was your teacher. They were organizing these indoor soccer matches where you self-admittedly were the last one to be chosen. And I can relate to that. Now, Seth was an athlete in school. I was not. I was just a nerd, and I just wanted to go home, do my homework. The only time they chose me for a team because I was, 7 foot tall and strong is when they were playing tug of war, and they'd always put me on the end. I'd never had anything like that. All right. So, but the thing that puzzles me, all right, as I'm reading your book, you're talking about, we'll save that for those knuckle dragging oil execs talking from chapter 1. What the hell is a knuckle dragging oil exec? Is that what Seth is? Because I'm looking for a new nickname for him.
Yeah, let me explain. So I grew up in a town called Aberdeen in northeast Scotland, right, which is an oil town. It's like the oil capital of Europe. And where we are, we have this kind of weird. Sorry?
Are you considered Albion, or is it Albion? Albion. I listened to a lot of Mark Knopfler.
Oh, Mark Knopfler.
Of course.
Yeah. He was Dire Straits, right?
Exactly. But he had like 21 albums on his own. But he talks about the Albions, that's what he's referring to, the Scottish people. It's a mindset, right?
Yes, he is. He is. Yeah. And
so how did you go from weakling that never gets chosen to to creating a fitness brand and avoiding these knuckle draggers? I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got interested in fitness and sport finally when I went to university, and I got into boxing. Right, boxing was kind of the thing that really kind of changed my mindset, because a lot of people don't realize is boxing clubs tend to actually be incredibly welcoming places, and they teach bullies how to respect people, and they teach weaklings how to look after themselves and get respected, and so it levels the playing field. And it was there that I really grew so much self-confidence and kind of became to believe in myself. And I got interested in boxing, fitness, chucking weights around, CrossFit, that kind of thing. And so I had the idea for my first brand in 2012, took no action, did nothing because I was in the wrong mindset. And it wasn't until I got this big kick up the ass when I had this heart problem, had nothing to do, that I was like, right, I'm going to take action. And so I started building my brand. And it turned out I was pretty good at it.
So, Ben, it looks like there's a little bit of a delay. So, I'm going to try to say what I'm going to say, and then I'll let you answer. So, Ben, so you start building your e-commerce brand. You then experience all the same psychological barriers that we all experience, like, stalling because you feel like you're not going to be able to succeed probably, and there's all kinds of other reasons. So, let's dig into what got you over the hurdle, and then what are entrepreneurs out there facing every day in terms of these mental blocks, and what can we do to actually succeed out there right now?
Yeah, totally. So it is a mindset shift, right? Because I had no product development experience, no marketing experience, no business experience. And so on paper, I was totally unqualified to do what I was about to do. So I just had to give myself permission to get over that, because really there's no one better than you to actually take your idea to the market and actually build your brand, because you're the one with the passion for it. You understand your niche, you understand your people, you understand the problems they're facing and the products you're developing for them. So I had to give myself permission, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say to people now is you should do that. You shouldn't wait until you have a hard problem to do that. But I think it goes beyond that, right? I think that we're so caught up now as everyone in this e-commerce and Amazon world talking about all the technical stuff that sometimes we forget the other side of being an e-commerce entrepreneur. Like, we're all facing this imposter syndrome because we see all these people posting these YouTube videos, these Instagram clips and whatnot, showing how perfect and fantastic their business is. And we're suddenly thinking, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not as good as them. I'm not qualified to do this. Oh no. And I should be doing this and this and this. And we get distracted by shiny objects, and we get pulled in a million directions, and we achieve absolutely nothing. And then, of course, it's very lonely being an e-commerce business owner, sitting on our laptops all day on our own. And that's when we start to spiral and think about all the things that we should be doing that we're not, and we get jealous of what everyone else is doing, that we're seeing all these screenshots of their amazing sales. It can be a really dark place, and no one's really talking about that stuff.
Okay, so Ben, quit stalling and tell me, what the hell is a knuckle dragging oil exec, and what's that got to do with me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so where I live in the northeast of Scotland, right, we have this bizarre situation where you got a lot of people go offshore to work who they're not actually all that talented, and they work their way up because of who they know, not what they know. And when they come back onshore, they're suddenly very high up the org chart, lording it all over all these much more talented people. And those are the people that I was very keen to escape from when I quit the 9 to 5 and built my brand. And so that's kind of a little reference that I put in the book, and you'll have to read the book to find out a bit more about that. But it's just kind of an example of how you can break free from that. You can break free. We all have these knuckle dragging oil execs in our lives. They might not be oil execs, but we all know who they are. These kind of not very talented people higher up the org chart than us who we want to escape from. And actually, we dream of building our brand. And the truth is that you can do it. You don't need an MBA. You don't need experience. All you need is some passion, some drive. You're going to have to find a bit of startup capital, and you can quit stalling and build your brand.
Love it. So, Ben, if we had to reduce this down to the whole Tim Ferriss minimum effective dose, what is that 20% that we can do right away, that low hanging fruit that's going to get us 80% of the results if we quit stalling? Shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Like 80-20 rule is something that I apply to everything. The first thing I would do is make sure, and this is really like where the gold is, I think. And it's like, it's so simple. People think it has to be complicated, and they're always looking for something complicated. Is stop using all these tools to define everything that you do in your business. There's a lot of great tools out there for like scanning Amazon and finding opportunities. Those are useful. They tell us something, but they don't paint the whole picture. And actually, what I think is far more powerful is identifying who your people are and what you're passionate about and building a brand around that. And then using tools to kind of fill in the gaps, right? The big rocks, right, are the things that you're passionate about and the problems that you can solve for those people. The little rocks and the tiny grains of sand that fill everything else up around about the big rocks, that's the tools, right? That's the software that's going to identify the gaps on Amazon, Walmart, whatever it is. So that's where I would tell people to start, is think about what your passion is and how can you bring that to the market.
So then, Ben, if you have a passion and then you find your product and then you go all in on the who, then what's the next step? Developing a product that's better than what's out there, or how do you do this process?
Yeah, totally. Well, there's a few ways to think about this, right? You're not necessarily going to like invent a new product. You might, but that does present its own challenges, because now you have to educate the market on something that doesn't even exist yet. But what you can do is you can position your brand and position your product differently so that it stands out. That might mean a more premium price point. It might mean going even more niche. Like, rather than just creating a brand for people who like knitting, what if you created a brand for people who like knitting but have arthritis and need special knitting needles and other special accessories, right? So it's kind of going really niche and making your brand stand out in the way that you position not just the product but the brand. And then it's thinking about, okay, if this is my brand and these are the problems I'm solving and these are my people, what language do they speak and how can I market to them? Where are they? Like, are they on TikTok? Okay, go there. Are they on Pinterest? Okay, go there. And how do they want to be marketed to? Because the way that you market to people looking for accessories for their Harley Davidson is going to be entirely different to how you market to people for this specialist arthritis knitting brand that I just dreamed up, right? So that's kind of where you go after that.
Okay. I know that in the only chapter that I had the chance to look at, which was quite remarkable, I have to say, you talk a lot about finding your customer avatar. Seth and I are huge advocates, Ben, of building listings that speak to a specific segment of your niche customer. Can you speak to that a little bit and the easiest way to find out? Because, a lot of times our opinion is just that. It's only our opinion. And more often than not, we are not our own customer. So it's hard for us, Ben, to get into the mindset of what is my customer thinking? What problems and challenges are they having? How can my product help? How do I connect with that particular avatar? Where's the best place to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's true. Like, a lot of people do have a business and they are not the avatar. And if they're not, that's okay. But I would really encourage them to make sure that somebody in their organization is, or they really go in and put the effort to go out and find out who is the customer and talk to them. That could be focus groups, could be surveys. There's great websites you can use now to like pay to have calls with people, and you can filter out what they're interested in and really get into the right mindset of those people. And then it's figuring out, okay, what are their goals, like, as it relates to your
Let me
niche.
stop
So,
you
like,
just
for
for a
example,
minute, Ben. I'm sorry. I'm intrigued. You said there are websites where you can get on the phone with your potential avatar and find out where their mindset is, nomenclature for that niche, that type of thing. What are these websites?
yeah,
And how do they
absolutely.
work?
Yeah.
So
So
let's just
there's
say
like
I'm
market
selling pizza
research
cutters.
websites.
Hypothetically, I want to sell a pizza cutter.
Yeah.
How could I use this
Yeah.
website to find out more about my customer?
Absolutely. So you would sign up on that website and you would start a campaign. Just go on Google, right, and search for market research campaign websites. You would
Okay.
sign up
Market research
and you would
campaign
start a
website.
campaign and you would tell the campaign who you want to target. So you might target people who live in a particular area, are of a particular age, like pizza. You might decide that you want to make sure that they have an Amazon Prime account, for example. That type of thing, right? You can even put in their income. You could even put in not just that they like pizza, but more generally other aspects of their lifestyle, that they're interested in cooking, etc., right? For me, for my first brand, I would have been putting in that they're interested in boxing, for my boxing line of products. Or if it was for my strength line of products, I would have been putting in that they're interested in strength training and powerlifting and that type of thing, right? And then you can get on the phone with these people and start digging into, right, what are their goals as it relates to your niche, right? So perhaps we'll go back to the knitting example, their goals are to knit nice sweaters for their grandkids, right? Then you're going to ask, what are their values as it relates to their niche? So it could be that they value high quality wool that doesn't fray, and they value high quality knitting needles that are easy to use and don't hurt their arthritis fingers, right?
Okay.
Then you're going to ask them about their pain points as it relates to your niche. So it could be that they're really struggling because the quality of the wool that they're looking for at the price that they're willing to pay just isn't there. And it's resulting in sweaters that aren't good enough, and they feel embarrassed to give them to people for gifts, right? That type of thing. And when you understand these issues, you can understand how your brand can speak to those people. You can understand how you can solve their pain points. You can also understand how you can demonstrate to them that you can help them reach their goals, and you can align with their values. And you're going to do that through everything to do with your brand, because then on the back of your brand, of your customer avatar, you're going to build a brand avatar, which is a reflection of who your customer is and who they aspire to be. Because people don't really care about your brand when you start. Like, nobody really cares about your brand. They just want to solve their problem. Until you've got them to buy multiple products from you and you've given them incredible value and they've become a fan of your brand, they don't care. They just want to solve their problem. So what your brand needs to do is speak to who your customer is and who they aspire to be, and demonstrate through brand voice, copy, images, the overall way that you portray yourself, social proof, what you're doing on social media, all the helpful, compelling, engaging content that you're creating, so that they know, like, and trust you, and they're going to buy from you. Because they want to see a reflection of themselves in your brand. They don't care about you. They just care about themselves and solving their problem.
Okay.
So if you can do that, that's how you're going to get them.
Fair enough. So before you jump into the next segment, Seth, let me just give Ben an opportunity. There are folks that are streaming this live on Facebook right now and also on YouTube. Would you like to give them opportunity maybe to win a physical copy of the book when it comes out, just to get a little engagement on your
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
you can.
So what's the secret word? What can the first person to type this in the comments on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn? What is the secret phrase? And then we're going to tell you who your winner is. So if you're watching this live stream, this is how you're going to win a free copy of Ben's book, and that is Quit Stalling and Build Your Brand. So what's the secret phrase, Ben?
All right, just because you mentioned it earlier, just for a bit of fun, the secret phrase is knuckle dragging oil exec.
All right, so the first person who comments in the chat, knuckle dragging oil exec. All right, you don't have to spell it right. We're going to get you a free copy of Ben's books. Go ahead and type that into comments on Facebook, or I think you can also do that on Twitter or YouTube, and we'll get back to that. Seth?
All right. So, Ben, who is the perfect client for you? Who are you looking to help? I know that you've been in the trenches yourself. Now you're trying to help entrepreneurs. So, who are you looking for here?
Oh, we have a winner. Before you answer that, so I can't pronounce the name. Seth, you're great with names. Can you pronounce this for me?
Yep. Bronwyn.
Bronwyn. So Bronwyn, you're going to send an email, Bronwyn. Send that email directly to Ben. And this was a lot of fun. So here's Ben's email, ben@benleonard.pro. And Ben will get you out a physical copy of that book. Right, Ben?
I certainly will. Bronwyn, looking forward to hearing from you. So, yeah, to answer your question, Seth, the perfect person for Quit Stalling and Build Your Brand is either somebody who is stalling, has an idea and has done nothing about it or very little about it, and needs some guidance from someone who's been there and done it and still doing it. Or perhaps somebody who has started, but they are kind of still stalling, right? They're struggling. Maybe they're doing 6 or 7 figures, but they've hit a bit of a plateau. They just need a refresher from someone who's been there and done it. They need some timeless advice that's going to show them at every stage of their business, all the way from product development right the way through to actually exiting their business right on the other end. Timeless advice and sound principles for making this a successful brand. That's who it's for.
And Bronwyn says, thank you. You should be able to see that on your screen.
Beautiful. All right. Ben. So then where should we go to find out more about you? I know you have a special link prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to quitstallingbook.com/post-purchase-pro, and that /post-purchase-pro part is really important, because when you do that, you will get a free chapter of the book, because the book's not quite out yet. It's coming out in October. You'll get access to the launch before anybody else, and you will get a free entrepreneurship mindset mini course and a free e-commerce hacks ebook.
Okay, so quitstallingbook.com/post-purchase pro. You get a free entrepreneurship mindset mini course, free e-commerce hacks, and you get we get away chapter 6, or is this just a random chapter?
It's probably going to be chapter 1. I'm
Okay.
actually speaking with the publisher about that tonight, so we'll find out soon.
All right,
they're
so
going to
you'll
get
get
a
one
chapter.
chapter. The chapter you sent me was a great teaser. I loved it, my friend. So speaking of books, let's move on to the fun segment here. And what is your all-time favorite business book? And you can't plug your own here.
That's a really easy question. The answer is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Great book.
Yeah, I read it like twice a year.
You do? Okay. I think, Seth, you were the first one to get me to read that, weren't you?
I imagine I was, Sean. It is a good book to turn your business from a job into a machine that works for you, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep, that's what we all want to do.
Ben, so the next question is a fun one, which is, over the last year, what have you spent a little too much money on? Maybe it was a splurge for you. Like, you thought, I shouldn't have spent that much on this, but you don't regret spending the money. Anything you've bought or invested in?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. We bought a bit of land to buy a new house. To build a new house, rather. So you might consider that's a bit of a splurge, but I don't regret it, because we're going to build a home, and we're excited about it. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different one, but yeah, we bought some land.
Okay, nice. Well, Ben, it's been a pleasure. I know I enjoyed speaking to you in South Africa. Hopefully our audience will find this engaging and impactful. I know Bronwyn Reed says thank you for the book, so we'll have to get that out pretty quick. Any last bit of advice before we wrap this thing up?
Really, just for people to give themselves permission, believe in themselves. Remember that you don't need a business degree. You don't need a ton of experience to make it in e-commerce. Whether you're just starting, or even if you're already doing 7, even 8 figures, just sometimes take a step back. Remember the business principles that are going to be the foundation of a solid business. Don't get too caught up in what everyone else is doing in the latest shiny object. And hopefully that's helpful for people. And if they want to check out the book, I'm really proud of it, and I believe it's going to be a great resource for a lot of people. So check it out, quitstallingbook.com/post-purchase-pro.
Thank you, Ben. This has been another episode of the Post Purchase Podcast. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.